Hi everyone, welcome back to my garage. I am the Motorcycle Rescuer and this is Motorcycle Rescuer. So I got lots of positive comments yesterday from you guys. Thanks a lot for that. It's always really handy. The bright work against the black absolutely does stick out lovely. One really annoying thing right now, guys, is that without the indicator relay up here, I can't finish it because these panels at the front are they're all kind of together. It's a right pain in the ass to get them off. So this pin here. I was just looking through my old looms. Some years back, guys, you used to buy a loom off eBay and it was like pick and mix. It was like your birthday. Some came with CDIs, some came with regulators. Nowadays, these breakers are bloody mean. They take every last inch off, including that diode last week, to earn 75 pence out of someone. So I've gone through all my wiring looms. I don't have one of them. They're the kind of things you should stock in, really. Actually, I wonder if Jake has any. He's down the road. I'm going to give him a call. Because you can't really piece this back together. But I have lots of painting work to do. I got some mixed reviews. Some people like the green, that like the green. I liked the green touches as well. But I also agree that it would probably look like kind of a bad paint job. So that does have to go black. The side panels have to go black. And the rear mudguard, which is somewhere, has to go black. And then we've got this little panel which really divided everyone. Someone said keep it green to show the originality. I think that's a great idea. It's still very tempting. Someone said chrome spray and then clip this back on. That's a really good idea actually, but I've used chrome spray before and it looked crap. And then obviously you've got the option to just matte black it. So I'm going to be following my normal rules, scuffing up these, the paintwork. I'll try and get these as smooth as possible so that the transition is less obvious. Remember, these panels, they will look a bit better. What I should have done there, I should have done a little corner piece there, which I still can do. But these aren't functional at the moment because there was nowhere to actually screw them to on the other side. So it's these little cable ties, one here and one up here, that was holding it together. And to be fair, black on black, you won't really notice that, which is good. So I'm going to scuff this up, get it ready for its first coat of paint. I'm going to do the same with the two side panels and the rear mudguard, and we'll try and get it all painted up. Now if I have enough paint, probably even if I don't, I'm going to try and get all this a bit better. This kind of super glue area, I mean the problem is, guys, it's not going to look much better, but a touch better would be good. Just if I sand it down a little bit more now, then I'll get it a touch better. It just needs to not be so obvious to the eye. This is kind of super glue residue, which I did put on top. I obviously didn't sand it down very well. I think Gary sanded this panel down. But yeah, so I want to focus on them areas a little bit more, and then put a touch of paint on there. Now later I did talk to you guys. I have talked to some of you and I said I am going to show you what's going on with this bike. It's really interesting, and probably also not what's going on. And Nat from Nat's Knackers Yard is going to know exactly the weird frustration I'm feeling today, because he just recently had the same issue. Now I've done the right thing by this panel, guys. I've sanded it all down a bit more, at least to get rid of the glue lines. It needs to be needs to have minimal imperfections rather than maximum. So I think that will look much better. That was sandpaper and then wet and dry, so it should be close to being fairly okay. And the same with here. I've smoothed down using the same system. These side things I've done, it actually looks quite good. Again, it won't be perfect, but it will be okay. So this needs a not a sanding down, but just a rubbing down so that it's not shiny the paint won't stick to shiny coats really, guys. So you've got to sand it down using a very fine paper, and just get rid of the gloss. That's the first thing you need to do. Then a bit of brake cleaner or something similar, paint. Well, what would you use? You'd use a pre-paint to get rid of any residues that are left. The brake cleaner does that as well. It's probably not the most, it's probably a bit more expensive than it should be doing that, but that is kind of what I do. And yeah, this paint will be ready, this panel will be ready for its first coat. And then I've got that rear mudguard there, and the two side panels kicking about somewhere. They're under there actually. So let's get them all scuffed up, all ready for their coats, and then I'll put them over in the corner where the wind is less, and we'll get some coats on them. I hope I've got enough paint. I might need to do a Halfords run. So here we go, guys. We're just following the dust it on version, which is you dust it on, second dusting, third dusting, give it 10 to 15 minutes in between. It's quite warm today, and then you kind of do a kind of what you would call a wet coat or two at the end, just to thicken it up. But that will look fine. Same over here, just the dusting. It's more important to dust this one on so that you get it all at the same consistency. So we're getting there. We are getting there. What's next for me? I need to call Jake, see if he's got a starter relay. I need to put a couple of holes in here, put a cable tie through, make sure that bit is solid and secure like that. It's a bit of a shame, but when your brackets have snapped like they have there, then it is just the quickest, easiest thing to do. And one little black cable tie you'll hardly see. So I am going to continue doing that. And then I guess I can get the bucket all put back in up here, because the back end is, to an extent, it's done, which is nice. Yeah, we'll get the back end all kind of done and dusted. One thing I needed to look at was this rear tyre. I need to order one. Right, so it is 3.5151J. 3.5151J. This is a tubeless one. Okay, that's interesting. Now I don't know if it is quite low. Look, guys, these are only 30 quid. I definitely can't put it on. I don't know if the shop, I might have to take it to them in the week. The other thing I'm not sure if I've screwed myself over with is if that wheel will come off with the exhaust on. Not sure. I'm also going to put some release spray in there so it's working its way in this week. Alright, we're getting there. So one relay, which I have ordered anyway. One rear tyre. What am I missing? Nothing. Bits of polishing and so on. Alright guys, I was thinking, oh god, I was thinking, oh, 1 minute, let me let this noise, thank you. So I was thinking yesterday, I haven't done enough charity work, which is ridiculous actually, because I mean I did Gary's whole alarm yesterday, but this guy's just popped in. He lives locally. His problem is that he's lost his bottom screw on the exhaust here. Just checking it's not hot. So it now pivots like that. You see that? It pivots, and that causes it to lose contact. So the exhaust goes loud when he goes over bumps. Now I've looked in here and the bolt is snapped in there, so I don't know if I can resolve that. What I can do is put some sort of washers in there, I think, and maybe minimise the pivot. I am going to take the exhaust off and try. I'm going to try to fix it. Again, I don't charge. He was another guy who was shocked. He was like, well, how much do you think that'll cost? I was like, well, nothing. If I don't need any parts, I don't charge. And he goes, what? So let me hack away at this for a minute. I was just about to set you guys up. Look on the er5, but I will do. And yeah. All right, cool. All right, guys. So I've been telling people there's a really interesting fault on this bike. Now I'm going to fire it up and show you. I think that's the easiest thing to do. The fuel's on. It will start up first press of the button, I think. sounds a little bit better today.
What?
Kinda. Have I put the fuel on? Yeah.
There's a choke on, Charlie.
Yeah. Battery's dying though. Right, so here's the issue. This bike fires on the left cylinder only, and it fires on the right cylinder only, but it won't fire both together smoothly. That's the issue. So I can pop the left spark plug off, and if it was warm, it would fire. And if it had enough battery, it would fire. So, Nat from that Snacker's yard has just had a similar problem. We need to look at carb imbalance, carb cleaning, floats, and then we need to consider other stuff, timing, things like that. But the first thing we need to do is be able to start it up. So I'm going to take the battery out, chuck it on charge, and I think we'll do a carb clean because we may as well at this stage while we're waiting.
So convenient to get there, man. Yep. Can you pass me a screwdriver? Yep. So I believe most of it is done now.
Almost done now. It's a bit done.
And this one left.
Oh, this is a clip one, so you have to.
Can you push it, then I can put.
Okay guys, hardest part of the carb clean is the screws. Ah, look at that, he's got all four on that one, that's brilliant.
Okay, let's see the other one.
Alright, he's going to get all four on this side. This is Gary.
Okay, one.
Nice. Now what we're looking for when we open these carbs are, we're looking for any brown fuel left, any remnances, any liquids, anything that's gummy. That's the one, yeah.
Clean, Charlie.
That's pretty bad actually.
The bread.
Yeah, look at, and you can see the middle
That's
part.
pretty bad. That's going to be up in the jets. Well worth cleaning this one then. And there's always one side worse than the others majority of the times. So yeah, but that is bad guys. See that, all that crap at the bottom there, all that jelly there, that just gets sucked. Fuel goes in, liquidizes it, it gets sucked up and it traps in the jets. So this was actually needed. I actually like when we get to these stages and it was needed. It makes me feel better. So we haven't wasted time. Let's see what the second one's like. Clean. Told you guys, there's always one. It's always one worse than the other. That one's pretty clean. Alright, so where do we go from here? What we do is from here, guys, is we pull out all of the jetting. We'll check the actual numbers, just make sure it's all right. That is a 102. That's a 102. So the jet sizes are right. Then we'll get out the jets down in the bottom here. They're the idle jets. So we're going to pull these out, we're going to pull these out. This carb is clearly older or less serviced than this carb. Then we're going to try our best to get out the air fuel screws without ruining them. They always ruin or get stuck, and it's a right pain in the arse. So the next step of this clean is out, 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 and out. We'll take the floats off. We're going to check them, make sure there's no fluid in them, and then ideally these out. However, before pulling these out, we have to screw them in and see how far they're out already, because there'll already be some sort of baseline. I'm going to get out the spray, the release spray, to help it all out. Okay guys, both 102s, one's fairly blocked. My suspicion is that one of these carbs is new. It's been bought in and attached to this pair. So my suspicion is that it was out of balance. So it needs a good clean, the old one, well, they both need a good clean, and then I think they'll need balancing, and we may have a good overall bike again. How are them there? One was worse than the other, right? Yeah. I think one's old. Yeah, they're fine. I'll give them a clean anyway. What you do is you look through, you won't be able to see it, but you look through and you're trying to see the light. Okay guys, so air fuel screws, check that they're loose, but keep them in the same spot. They're both loose, they both turn, they're both loose. Right, I'm going to start with this one. So we've got the fuel line here, not the fuel line, the coolant line here, and it's the right one upside down. How many turns in will I go? So half, half, that's one, half. So that was 1.5 turns out. 1.5 turns out. Now look here, it's getting a bit stiff. We've got to be careful, we don't want to ruin it. 1.5 turns out, that was. Alright, we're going to have a good look at this and make sure they're all okay. When you take these apart, guys, be wary that there is a spring in there. Keep the spring. Turn it upside down if you need to. There's the spring. There's a bit of a clean. Keep the spring with it all. Right, same on here. So that was 1.5 turns out. Half. Ooh. 1.25 turns out, that was. 1.25 turns out. No, it weren't. It was 1/2. 3/4 that was. 3/4 out. So no wonder it was off balance. So just chucking the balancer on these carbs would have made a huge difference, but that wouldn't have been the right thing to do. Now we've seen lots of balancing at the moment on our channel. We've seen Nat doing lots of balancing, and we've seen Nick doing some balancing, I believe. Now the balancing is this here. It's the butterfly ports here, and what we're looking for is the gaps at the bottom being the same on both sides, but you can't really see it by eye. That's what we mean by balancing. Now I'm looking at this, and this one is significantly more open than this one, which means that would have been getting more air and fuel mix, which makes sense why they did that last. So it's all a bit tweaky. You need to get them all set well between the balance and the air fuel screws, which I'm not the best at, but we can do. What's that for? You're sensitive to smells, aren't you?
No.
When I was spraying yesterday.
Yes, don't want your lovely people give any negative feedback.
Ah, good point. Right, go on, I'm going to leave you two to it. Does that go there? I assume it does it? I don't even know.
I did a video in.
I don't know where that goes.
Is it?
Oh, overflow tube.
Yeah.
Straight down. Go straight down. Absolutely. Right. That is suction. That goes onto one of them, but we don't need that yet because we're going to use our ones. That goes down there. They go in there.
Yeah, it's in.
Lovely. So the main bit we...
I guess this one goes here, right? You don't need it, no?
That went in so easy, though.
I'll loosen this one up this way.
Oh, you've taken the clips all the way out.
Yeah.
All the way out. Oh, this one's a pain. There you go. No, it's not happy. Okay guys, so we didn't get to fully show you what exactly was happening with this bike, but basically it was running really, it wasn't smooth at all. I pulled the left spark plug, it still ran on one cylinder. I put that back, pulled the right plug, it still ran. It just wasn't happy, and after looking at the carbs, I believe one carb was added to this mix recently and the other carb wasn't particularly clean, and so on. We need to get the bike kind of up and warm-ish, and then we need to do the carb balancing. I'm going to take Nat's advice on them balancers not being particularly great, and I'm going to use both sides and a combination of the middles to see if we can get it kind of as average as we can. But one of my things this year is going to be to buy a decent Pro Tune carb tuner, I think, because it's needed. And them little clock ones, they are just cheap and they're not going to be as accurate. So that is one of my things. If we're very, very lucky today, guys, this bike will idle up, it will balance, and it will sound 100 times better, and it will sound normal, because it is a stunning bike. It's been well looked after. Okay guys, so we're having a play with the balance. It's warm enough now, so Gary, if we swap sides, yeah. I'll get the gauges kind of doing their thing. It's warm enough. They look fairly close, guys, so we'll go here. We'll see what the balance is like. It's coolant. The coolant fell on the exhaust, so it's burning. There's nothing to worry about. But let me turn the idle up. It needs to be at a nice level. these sides, you see that backfire?
Yeah.
One of these sides isn't firing properly. I don't like this head here. So, and also I think the fuel, we're on prime, aren't we? So it should be sucking it through, but that hasn't dropped much. So let me see if. What, just now? Did it? The engine's also quite hot. So guys, there's a bit of spitting in the engine, right? But I changed we changed the spark plugs yesterday, just out of curiosity, but I don't like this head unit here. That one's the red one, and this one's probably the original. So I'm going to find a better one and switch it over, because it doesn't sit on the head well enough, and that bothers me. Right now, this bike would probably start on one cylinder. Look, the left. See that? Now, if we switch gear, if you pull off the left and I put back the right, let's see if I think we're back to our original issue. But that doesn't sit on well enough for me. Yeah, all right. So you're disconnected. So yeah, it will still fire, guys. It should do. Watch. Ah. So the right side is not as happy as the left side. So I'm gonna trim the hose a touch here, make sure it's a good connection, and clean the connectors up here so that we've got a full connection. Otherwise we might need some new coils, but so the left side fired nice there. We all saw that the right side was struggling a bit, so let's do a bit of cleaning. So guys, I trimmed the line and cleaned it, and I cleaned the connectors, and it fires up on the right side separately as well now. To be honest, a new set of coils wouldn't be the end of the world for this bike. It possibly needs it. Like 40-50 quid well spent, I think. Let's see if we can get it fired and balanced, because that's ultimately what we're trying to achieve. That's all right. All right, it should sound happier. Slight misfire.
I mean, sounds better now.
I think a few pounds on some coils won't hurt. New set of coils. Make sure, you know, just 2 sets of coils. Because that sounded good as well.
Yeah.
So it sounded
Perfect.
not very good and good. And it seems, I think it seems happier. And at the moment we haven't got its normal fuel system on. That could make a difference on its own. I don't know if these have the timing like I think they do. I feel like these are parallel twins. I feel like the pistons run at the same time. I just have a slight suspicion with this one. There's something about it. I don't know. I just feel like it might not be timed correctly for some reason. I think it's probably because I had it recently on the ZL, and these are similar kind of traits. But I think it won't hurt a full, 2 new coils at this stage, guys. It's a low, it's a low mileage bike, 27,000. These might be the original coils. A new set of coils isn't going to hurt at all, and we'll know immediately if it sounds better. It's running a Motad exhaust, so to be fair, it's got a little bit of extra oomph in it because it lets out a little bit more airflow. So the slight misfire isn't the end of the world as long as the bike runs and rides. A part of me wants to put the tank on and run it under normal circumstances.
That's right.
Do you think?
Yeah.
In case it just isn't getting enough fueling.
I think so, yeah, because look at all this.
Alright, guys, we're going to chuck it back together with the fuel tank and give it do you know what would be nice, Gary? We haven't checked the gearbox or anything. We haven't run this bike at all. So we could give it a run and let it stretch its legs up and down the street. Or are we doing all that work for nothing because it probably needs a set of coils? I think that's probably I'm in 2 minds now, mate. I'm in 2 minds now. What do we do? No, let's not. Let's leave it alone, I think, because we're gonna drip fuel everywhere. Do you know what? I'm gonna order a set of coils for the price, and we'll go with that next. Then throw the tank on, and then we'll know. I bet it runs and rides well, actually. New coils, tank on, all sealed up properly. I bet that's it. The other thing that would be handy is a better carb sink, like Nat showed us last time, Yeah, I think that's it, guys. Right, let me know what your thoughts are with this er5. I think that sounded great for an older kind of bike there, but it had its slight misfire. That's something we can achieve. The plugs themselves are brand new, so the coil and the wiring, I might even snip the wiring and put some new connectors on next week. New coils, new wires, new heads, and I bet it's a beautiful running bike. Lay money on it. Alright, guys, so to an extent I think we're probably wrapping up, eh? I don't know what time it is. 2, 1?
3.
Wow, 3. Didn't expect it. As always, guys, thanks for watching. Let me know what you think about this er5. The Lex Moto and the Tamaretti, of course. Lex Moto should be gone any day. Do you know what? I was so tempted to put the Tamaretti back together today, but I'm not going to. I'm going to be patient. I'm going to let the paint dry all week in the garage, and do it properly next weekend, where we can then put a bit of wax on it and keep it a bit more protected. We'll have our new relay, we'll have our new rear tyre, and then we'll have a bike that's ready to hopefully MOT run and ride and be back on the road.